Hey guys. I told you I'd be back. So, first off, I hope the audio is a little bit better. I went in and I messed with my microphone settings a little bit. I know I got at least one comment the last video commenting on my audio. I'm sorry. I didn't have my settings set right. I tried to fix it in editing. It wasn't where I tried my hardest. There's only so much I can do post recording audio wise with the software that I use. And I did that. I tried. When I listened to it on my phone, it sounded fine. When I was editing it on my computer, it sounded fine. So how was I to know that in post it would be not fine? Anyway, so I'm very excited about the subject of today's video because the subject of today's video is my favorite show of all time. I am not joking. I have the evidence to prove it. Buffy the Vampire Slayer. And yes, I'm not hopping on a bandwagon or anything. I love me some Buffy. I wish this was the OG Buffy. I want to get the Buffy and Faith Funko Pop, but I have the Funkos and the comics to prove it. This is Exhibit A. Here we have Exhibit B. Exhibit C. I'm running out of room on my desk. Exhibit D. I did not take this out of the box. It got destroyed when I was moving rooms last year. I'm still really mad that it got taken out of the box because the place that I bought it from for super duper cheap no longer sells Funko Pops and no longer sells anything Buffy, which makes me really, really mad. But my little gentleman, and then to really show my dedication to the Buffyverse, Omnibus 1, Omnibus 2, and Omnibus 3. I'm actually still on Omnibus 2. Very good series. Hate Joss Whedon, but I recommend you check out the comics if you're a big Buffy fan like me, because they're really, really good. Anyway, let's get into the video. I'm sure you could see by the title that this might stir up some controversy in the comments section. And I swear, I have a rhyme behind my reason, a reason behind my rhyme. I don't know. But I swear I am not a hater against the Scoobies. I love the Scoobies. I swear I'm not hating on them. But I just need you to have, like, somewhat of an open mind with this. Like, I promise you, this is not just an attack on the Scoobies. I promise you I have a reasoning. This is just sit down, relax, listen, and I'll explain, okay? Please don't attack me before I give you my reasons. Please. All right, let's get into it. So one thing I've always found interesting about Buffy the Vampire Slayer is the monsters are usually pretty easy to spot. Whether it's our vitamin D deficient fangy friends, a robot, a 5,000-year-old demon, love ya Anya, an ancient god, or even an estranged schoolmate, if you know, you know. They always out themselves pretty quickly and get maximum slayage. But occasionally in Buffy, the big evil isn't the gentleman or Angel losing his soul again. It's the people closest to her when fighting battles against the creepy crawlies that find themselves in Sunnydale, the Hellmouth. Because when you actually look back at the series, were the Scooby Gang really Buffy's best friends? Or were they just really bad at being there for her? Now, like I said, before anyone starts writing an angry little comment down there, yes, the Scooby Gang obviously cares about Buffy. And I love them dearly. I'm asking you to have an open mind. Like I said, truly think of the ways they've majorly hurt Buffy and then brush past it like it was nothing. They fight with her. They save her. They risk their lives for her. And they're not fake friends who secretly hate her. But caring about someone and actually supporting them are two completely different things. And a huge theme throughout Buffy is that everyone expects Buffy to be strong. Like, everybody forgets that she's just a teenage girl in the beginning. And she's just a girl. Like, yes, she has, like, superhuman strength, but she's still, like, just a girl. And everyone expects her to be the hero. They expect her to be the person who makes hard decisions. The person who sacrifices everything while being just a girl. She's one strong-ass girl. And I think she's awesome and powerful. But, like, they have to remember that, like, she's still, like, the same as, like, anyone else. She just has, like, super strength. And she has this like calling, but she didn't choose it. They act like she chose one day and she was like, oh my God, yes, I'm going to be a vampire slayer. No, upon each generation, a slayer is born. And she just happened to be one of them. Anyway, but they don't always stop and think about what being the slayer is actually doing to her, like to her mental health, because Buffy is more than a weapon. She's a person. And a lot of the time, the Scoobies tend to forget that. The biggest issue with Buffy's friends is that they love her when she's the version of Buffy that they need.
Hey, Buff. Need a hand?
No, thanks. I'm good.
The Buffy who saves them. The Buffy who always knows what to do, and the Buffy who can handle everything. But when Buffy's struggling, when she's angry,
You sent away the one person that's been watching my back. Again.
We're all watching your back.
Funny. It's not really what it feels like.
when she's scared, because yes, a slayer can be scared. When she makes choices that they don't like, suddenly, the big buffster, she's the problem. And that happens over and over and over again. Let's start with Giles, because Giles is probably the most complicated example. He's basically the closest thing that Buffy even has to a present father, which, once again, read the comics. The comics does go further into like Buffy not having her dad. And there's many moments where Giles is amazing. I personally love Giles. Like, I love him so much. He cares about Buffy deeply, but he also repeatedly chooses the role of the Slayer over Buffy herself. Even after Buffy said this.
Giles, I'm 16 years old. I don't want to die.
Like, she didn't want to die. Like, this is what I mean. Like, she's a teenage girl. Like, they always forget she's a teenage girl. And the biggest example? The Watchers Council test. She's literally in danger. She's put in danger. And she's stripped of all of her strength. She's basically just an average everyday girl. And Giles knows way more than he tells her. And the reason this hurts her so much is because Buffy doesn't just see Giles as her watcher. She sees him as family. That is her father figure. So when he chooses the rules over her, it feels like another person proving that the Slayer comes before Buffy. So, do you remember when Buffy ran away to Los Angeles at the end of season 2 after she was essentially kicked out of the house, expelled from school, oh yeah, and had to kill her boyfriend?
You walk out of this house, don't even think about coming back.
Angel, which I personally think would make anyone leave home. Well, do you also remember the episode Dead Man's Party from episode 2 of season 3? If you don't, here's what happened. Buffy comes back home, and her mother is suddenly a helicopter parent. Buffy lets the Scoobies know that she's back, and her mother suggests having everyone over for a dinner, which ends up just being a massive party, which includes Oz's band playing. During the party, Buffy feels kind of uncomfortable realizing that Willow's avoiding her, and everyone is just acting really weird around her. Little does Buffy know, the Nigerian mask her mother brought to the house is also doing a whole lot of witchy woo-woo. But anyway, when Buffy heard Joyce saying, having Buffy home, I thought it would make it better. But in some ways, it's almost worse. Buffy rushes upstairs and starts repacking her bag. After all, who would want to stay after feeling so rejected by their own mother? Willow then catches Buffy packing and starts verbally attacking her for wanting to leave again, telling her how it's not easy to want to talk to her and how she's not the only one going through stuff, and Buffy gave her no one to talk to about all the scary life stuff. Joyce comes in mid-conversation and gets angry at Buffy.
She was running away again.
No, I wasn't. I'm not sure.
Well, you better get sure and explain yourself right away. If you think you can just take off anytime you feel
Stop it, please. I don't know.
I don't know what I'm doing.
And it just turns into a big argument in front of everyone at the party, where even Xander starts attacking her as well. And it essentially just turns into a big, let's attack the Buffster party.
I screwed up, I know this. But you have no idea. You have no idea what happened to me or what I was feeling.
Did you even try talking to anybody?
There was nothing that anybody could do. Okay, I just had to deal with this on my own.
Yeah, and you see how well that one worked out. You can't just bury stuff, Buffy. It'll come right back up to get you.
As if I even could have gone to you, Xander. You made your feelings about Angel and I perfectly clear.
Look, I'm sorry that your honey was a demon, but most girls don't hop a greyhound over boy troubles.
Pretty much the only one who tries to defend her is Cordelia, but with Buffy feeling so defensive, she gets short with her too.
Time out, Xander. Put yourself in Buffy's shoes for just a minute, okay? I'm Buffy, freak of nature, right? Naturally, I pick a freak for a boyfriend. And then he turns into Mr. Killing Spree, which is pretty much my fault.
Cordy, get out of my shoes.
I'm just trying to help, Buffy.
And after a brief fight with a bunch of the undead, risen by the masks, witchy woo-woo, everyone hugs, and then we see Giles threatening the principal in order to get Buffy back in school. But essentially, we just end up brushing past the big arguments in this episode. We do see Willow forgiving her in the end, even though I personally don't feel like Buffy was being all that bad. In fact, I think what she went through, and with her being a teenage girl, it's completely understandable, and that maybe they should have sat down and listened to her instead of sitting there and yelling at her, but I digress. Anyway, then we get to season 6, where honestly the cracks really start to show. Buffy's brought back from the dead. She's traumatized. She's disconnected, and she's clearly not okay. And instead of everyone really asking, what happened to you? A lot of people expect her to just go back to being the old Buffster, and they almost get angry that she's not immediately the same again. Willow brings her back because she can't accept that she lost her. Nobody really stops to think about whether or not Buffy actually wanted to come back. They all just kind of assume she was in hell, which I think is really messed up. And that's kind of the whole problem. Everyone loves Buffy, but sometimes they only love the version of Buffy that makes them feel safe, not necessarily the version who's hurting. And not only that, but the second she's back, she immediately has to start working to pay all the bills, as when she was gone, Tara and Willow decide to play house in Buffy's home and spend all the saved up money. So essentially she was brought back just to immediately start solving all of their problems again, with the only ones to truly care about how Buffy feels ends up being Tara and Spike. And then we get into Buffy's relationship with Spike. Now, obviously, Buffy and Spike's relationship is very complicated, from hating each other to loving each other to loving each other to hating each other. There's a lot of problems there. But what's interesting is how the Scoobies respond. A lot of the time it feels less like, Buffy, are you okay? And more like, we don't like what you're doing. They judge her choices without always understanding why she's making them. And again, Buffy ends up being treated like a problem instead of someone who's struggling. And she finds comfort in Spike because he recognizes that there's something off about her after coming back, and ends up being the only one to know that when they brought her back to life, they ripped her out of what was implied to be heaven. Now on to season 7. Yeah, you know what I'm going to talk about here. The biggest example of the Scoobies failing Buffy is season 7. The potentials arrive. The first evil is coming. And once again, the Buffster is expected to save everyone, which is basically her entire life. But when the group starts disagreeing with her leadership, they don't just argue with her. They kick her out of her own house. The house she owns. The house where she's protected them. And the wildest part is that Buffy is the reason most of them are even alive. Yeah.
And you can't stay here. Buffy, I love you. But you were right. We have to be together on this. You can't be a part of it. So I need you to leave. I'm sorry. But this is my house, too.
Ding,
witch is dead.
Shut your mouth.
Hey, look, I swear I didn't want it to go this way. I mean it.
Don't be afraid to lead them.
The person who spent years sacrificing everything for everyone else suddenly becomes the person they decide is the problem. It's one of the biggest moments where Buffy realizes even the people closest to her don't always see her as a problem. Sometimes they just see what she can do for them. And what's interesting is that the people who seem to understand Buffy the most usually aren't the people you would expect. It's the outsiders, like Faith. Faith and Buffy are two sides of the same coin. They both know what it's like to be Slayer, and they both know what it's like to carry the huge responsibility that no one else understands. Faith gets Buffy because she understands what it's like to be treated like a weapon instead of a person. And then there's Cordy, which is honestly funny because early Cordelia would have probably been the last person anyone would have expected. But Cordy has always been good at seeing things other people ignore. She doesn't put Buffy on a pedestal. She doesn't expect her to be perfect. She just sees Buffy as Buffy. And then Tara. Tara might be one of the only people who consistently listens to Buffy without judging her. She understands that someone can be struggling without being a bad person. She understands that pain doesn't make someone a burden. And I think that's the difference. The people who have also felt like outsiders are usually the ones who understand Buffy the most. So, I don't think that the Scooby Gang doesn't love Buffy. They obviously do. But sometimes they love Buffy the Slayer more than Buffy the person. When she's strong, she's their hero. But when she's struggling, she's just inconvenient. And that might be the saddest part of Buffy's story. She spends the entire series fighting monsters, but she's also fighting to prove she's more than what she can do for other people. She's not just the Slayer. She's Buffy. Buffy Summers. And sometimes the people who should know that the most are the ones who forget it. So maybe the question isn't, were the Scoobies bad friends? Which personally, I think they really could be at times. With Buffy being the Slayer, the friendship couldn't truly be 50-50 because they couldn't always do for her what she could do for them. But I feel like emotionally, a lot of the times, they weren't best friends because they weren't always there for her in her time of need. But maybe it's just, did they understand Buffy as a person? Or did they only see her as their problem solver? I don't know. After hearing this, I want you to let me know. Don't yell at me for my opinions. Just let me know how you feel about how the Scoobies treated Buffy. Do you think they should have treated her better? Do you think they could have treated her better? Do you think they truly saw Buffy as a human, or do you think they just saw her as the Slayer? Let me know in the comment section down below. And as always, if you liked this video, let me know in the comments. And don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. And yeah, just let me know if you like what I'm doing here. I have a few other ideas. I want to do a Pretty Little Liars one. I know I mentioned that in the last video. I don't know when that's coming out. I'm trying to figure out how much research I need to put into that because I've also been rewatching Pretty Little Liars. So there's that. I have a few different good ideas. I have Pretty Little Liars ideas. I have more Buffy ideas. I have a whole nother script for another Buffy episode planned out. I have the Vampire Diaries. I have so many ideas for different videos like this that I can do. Just be patient and they will come. If you even like them. If you don't like them, then that's okay. But yeah, that was once again another video on Bunny's World. Ciao.